Welcome to Mood Food with Melissa. I'm Melissa and I'm so excited to be sharing one of my favorite recipes with you. Today we're going to be making my Thai almond sauce. It's a very simple and super versatile sauce made with raw almond butter and just a few simple ingredients. As with most of my dressing and sauce recipes, the blender is going to do most of the work for us, so let's just get started adding everything in. First, we're going to start with 1 jar or 16 ounces of raw almond butter. And I like to use raw almond butter for this recipe because it has a little bit of a sweeter and creamier texture and flavor than a roasted almond butter. So I really like to get raw almond butter, but you can use whatever almond butter you have. It'll still come out good. The one thing you are looking for when you're buying your almond butter though is you want to make sure that it's just pure almonds. You don't want any added salt or oils. All right, so we've got our almond butter in there. And then we're going to add 1/2 cup of the roasted garlic confit that I showed you how to make in one of my previous episodes. We'll also add 1/4 cup of coconut aminos. And I love to use coconut aminos because it adds not only a little bit of sweetness, but a really nice depth of flavor. And same thing with using roasted garlic versus raw garlic. That much raw garlic would be insane in this recipe, but it's gonna be really delicious because when we roast it, it mellows out the flavors and brings out all of the sweetness that's in garlic. And that's just a natural sweetness that exists. It's just cooking it the right way to bring it out. So we have our coconut aminos, our almond butter, and our roasted garlic in here, and we're going to add 1/4 cup of toasted sesame oil. And again, we're going to use the toasted sesame oil because that's going to give us a little more depth of flavor. And then we're also going to add 3/4 cups of robust maple syrup. Again, we're going with the dark maple syrup because it's going to give us a really nice depth of flavor. And when we're using things that are sweet and savory, I think it's really important to have that depth. If the sugar comes off too just sugar sweet, it's not going to taste good. So you want to have a nice deep sweetness that's going to match with the savory, the depth of your savory items. So 3/4 of robust maple syrup is going in there, along with 1/4 cup of fresh chopped ginger. And that ginger has been peeled and chopped up. You don't want to have the skin in there. You can use powdered ginger for this recipe if you don't have the fresh stuff, but I really don't think you get the same flavor from it. So I would recommend using the freeze-dried ginger that you can find sometimes in the produce section, or there's also some stores that sell powdered ginger juice. And powdered ginger juice is different than powdered ginger. It just has a sweeter taste to it when it's in the final product. I find that powdered ginger can sometimes be a little too pungent when it's in a powdered form. It just isn't the same as fresh by any means. So you can definitely get away with using some powdered ginger in this, but I would go for fresh or freeze-dried. I think it really makes a difference. The last thing we're gonna add before we give this a little whirl in the blender is about 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And you can do that based on taste. If you want it to just have a very mild heat to it, I would go closer to the 1/8 of a teaspoon. If you like a little bit of heat, go with the 1/4 teaspoon. It's still not gonna make it super spicy, but it will definitely have some heat to it that way. We're also going to add 1 cup of water to help thin everything out, and about 2 to 3 tablespoons of the Duxbury salt that I love so much. And as with all the recipes, the mineral profile in here is gonna bloom all of these flavors and really meld them together in a way that other salt just won't do. So I highly recommend getting your hands on this salt, but if you wanna use some other salt, that's perfectly fine. I would use maybe just a tiny bit less salt and then taste as you go if you're going to use a different type of salt. So we have all of our ingredients in here and we're just gonna give this a quick whirl on the blender and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, so our sauce is all set. We just gave it a quick whirl in the blender. If you're using a high-powered blender, that won't take long at all. You just wanna keep an eye on it until you see a nice, creamy, even consistency. So before we pour this out of the pitcher, I'm just gonna give it a little taste test to make sure it's exactly where we want it to be. It's perfect. It's so good. It has beautiful notes of both sweet and savory, and it's nicely balanced. You're not getting any kind of candy sweetness when it goes in, but you definitely are getting those beautiful maple notes. But it's nicely balanced by the almond butter and that garlic and all those beautiful savory notes that we added in, like our toasted sesame. So we're gonna go ahead and just transfer this into a bowl, and then I can tell you how you can use it. Perfect. All right, our sauce is all set and ready to be used in so many ways. One of my favorite ways to use this recipe is just as a simple dipping sauce. It's beautiful with chicken and shrimp, really anything that just needs a little dip to it. And you can also use it as a really nice salad dressing. I love to do like a chopped Asian salad kind of thing with this. That's delicious. But my favorite way to use this is in my Thai almond noodle dish that I'll be showing you how to make in one of my upcoming episodes. So I hope that you've enjoyed learning how to make this recipe and will enjoy using it at home. You can find this recipe and more at moodfoodwithmelissa.com.